Hello everybody, this is Show here, and if you guys are wondering why this video is coming out at probably, let me give a, let me give a guess, 20 minutes, 25 or 27 depending on the episode, and editing usually takes, I want to say probably 140, 150 sometime, probably, with the way my editor wants to work now, because it slows me down. This video is probably going to be out at probably within the next hour, or in literally an hour. Now, this is going to be the internships, but it's also going to be a bit different. Now, let us cut to Deku. Deku has woken up. Now, when Deku is woken up, All Might and a lot of Recover Girl and All Might are there, and All Might's asking Deku, what's going on? Deku would say that he knows what she looks like now. As Deku would say Nana, and Deku would just say who is Nana. And All Might would just brush it off, saying, so, if it's not Nana, then who is it? Deku would say that the girl that has been trying to contact him. Essentially, he found out who she is, or at least what she looks like. She calls herself Airy, and she has a small horn, white hair, red eyes, and she apparently has bandages. Not just that, she essentially is captured by a guy people just call Overhaul. Now, as soon as All Might would hear this, he would immediately start thinking that, okay, so they have his quirk, and she would also say that his name is Suzaki. I believe that's Overhaul's name. I am actually going by what I can remember right now. And I actually did remember all the 8 precepts of Death's quirks, and that was surprising me. Now, after this, let's continue. Deku would take this information to Nezu after the award ceremony, where Deku gets crowned first place. Todoroki gets crowned second, and Baku gets crowned third. Now, after this happens, Deku takes us to Nezu, and Nezu has actually been looking around and poking around in different cities. The day Deku was talking about was essentially harder to find, but the billboard and things like that, they're still somewhat difficult to pinpoint. But they have at least tried narrowing it down to at least this man, as a picture of Overhaul would pop onto the screen. And Deku would say that that looks like what she said. Now, after this, Deku would say that if that's the case, then they need to go there now and get her. Nezu's saying that they'd have no right to because it's private property, and not just that, but essentially they need a warrant, and they need to call. All Might needs to make a phone call to Sir Nighteye. Deku would be in shock, saying, Sir Nighteye, wait, isn't that your... All Might would just say yes, and it's not just that. Sir Nighteye would then walk into the room, saying that you are not All Might. All Might has more wrinkles in his face. He's trying to ask what's going on, as All Might would reveal that, hey, not only am I back in my prime and younger again, but my injury's also fixed. So I'll get that 20-year poster after all. And this is whenever Nighteye would actually meet Deku. Nighteye would look Deku in the eye, and he would see Deku's future. And he would actually pull his hand away somewhat hesitantly, saying that, so, you are his successor. Personally, with your quirk, I believe Mirio's still sort of in it. Deku would say, wait, who's Mirio? And Nighteye would actually ask Deku to demonstrate his skills. Deku would ask Nighteye if he has a pencil on hand, because he can just fight him using that. Nighteye wouldn't believe him, and he would hand over a pencil. Now, Deku and Nighteye would face off. And they are actually in the USJ, if not somewhere around Yeah, let's say the USJ. So, like the training area they were at for the Mario fight, they are there. Now, while there, Nighteye has challenged Deku. Deku is not actually in his hero outfit, but he just has the pencil. Now, Nighteye would say that he doesn't really have to defeat him, he just has to show him or get a scratch on him. And he will call that victory. Now, as Nighteye said this is whenever Deku, he would immediately turn on full cowling, and he actually powers up to 100%, using rewind to keep himself together. Now, as soon as he does so, this actually surprises Sir Nighteye because he didn't expect this. If not, he should have, because it's a possible feature. But just that this was the least probable thing he thought this kid could do. Deku would actually rush in, and as soon as he actually rushes in, he still has the pencil in his hand. Now, he would actually smack it, he would actually use 25%, if not 10%, to actually push Sir Nighteye in the chest with a pencil. And as soon as he did so, ow, Sir Nighteye would be sent flying along with the pencil, which is currently turning into a giant tree. Sir Nighteye would smash into a wall, and the tree would actually hit him, actually giving him quite a few injuries. Which he would then say that apparently Deku is a good successor. But he doesn't understand his quirk. And Deku would explain Rewind, how vague it is, and essentially what it can do. And he still has yet to figure out some certain things about it. He would then look into Deku's future again, and he's actually seeing Mirio. Now, he doesn't know why Mirio is there, but he just sees these two standing there, as he's essentially looking up at them, which he doesn't really know what's going on, or if it's not why. Now, hang on. Now then, during the internships, Sir Nighteye and All Might would actually be talking, and they're organizing all the other internships and pro heroes, along getting warrants and actually scoping out the place. But whenever they go to scope out the place, this is whenever Deku, he would notice that whenever they got up, it actually rained overnight, which kind of confuses him because now it's a cloudy day. And as they were going to have surveillance, this is whenever Deku would see that they're actually putting up a billboard that looks quite similar. Now, as they're patrolling, the hours of the day would go by, and this is whenever Deku would actually finally sit down and take a breather with Mirio. As they are talking, Mirio is asking Deku about his quirk and what's been going on, and apparently that he's the whole reason why they're there. Deku would explain his quirk, and Mirio is actually quite impressed. Now, if you guys are wondering what Deku's hero costume is, it's somewhat like, it's like tactical pants, but with a bunch of pouches on them, and each of these pouches carry something different. They could be seeds, pencils, a variety of things, but one great thing that he carries is actually just a plain old taser gun, if not a regular stun gun. Because if his quirk gets disabled, he can either fight or try and take them down quickly. Never mind. That sounds stupid. A taser gun in a world full of quirks. Never mind. Sorry. Now, Deku, he would actually have the these pouches, and they're just full of regular things like pencils, seeds, anything really that he can use in combat, and he even carries, I don't know another good thing he can carry. Let's say he carries like a bow staff, or at least he has like a weird looking cane. It's like it has a clock on top of it, and it's a wooden stick, so he actually walks around with it. Now, Deku is talking with Mirio, and he would actually look up, and he would see that, wait, that's, as he would actually open up one of the pouches, pulling out a small notepad. Now he's actually flipping through it, and he would see one thing he didn't expect. This billboard they just put up, it's exactly what Eri described, which confuses Deku. He would actually talk to Mario about this, and this is when Mario would actually call Sir Nighteye. Now, Sir Nighteye would actually pick up the phone, and when he hears that essentially these events are happening now, he's even more confused. Because that either means that Deku can either predict the future, like him, or essentially these two are talking through time. Which confuses him a bit, as he's now really interested in this situation. I nearly swallowed my tongue trying to say that. Now, after this, they would begin the raid on the villain's base, or the overhauls, whatever, the eight precepts of death. Now, as soon as they get in, everyone is confused as they are now caught off guard. Now, Deku and Mirio are running in, and Deku's actually calling out for Eri. This actually confuses her as she's not sure what to do. She would actually be talking, and she's asking who it is, and Deku would just say that's him, Midoriya, the guy she's been talking to. Now, as soon as he says this to her, she's saying that they need to get away, they can't be here, Overhaul's gonna hurt you, or Sasaki's gonna hurt you. Now, Deku would actually ignore this, saying that they're here to save her, and they know what's been going on with her, because he's been talking with her. And she would just say that essentially what happens is this is like a little bit of a time loop. If not, it's confusing if you think about it, but basically interdimensional mind. Okay. Fixed point in the past, present, future. Basically. Now, Deku's actually saying that it's fine. In fact, they're here to save her and everything will be okay. As she's realizing that this is actually him. As for a split second she sees through his eyes, she would see that they're actually running in. She sees how many heroes and she actually feels confident that they are going to do so. Now, the whole incident with the guy mimicking the building would happen exactly like canon. He would be mimicking the building and he's actually trying to split up the villains. No. I'm thinking about how it is in canon. He's trying to split up the heroes, and he would actually split up Kirishima and Fat Gum. Now, since Kirishima has not unlocked his Red Right Unbreakable mode, Kirishima will actually have backup in the form of Sun Eater. Now, as soon as that happens, Deku and them will keep running through, and the guy who destroyed the door in the beginning, he wouldn't have destroyed it because they actually, essentially they all were able to camouflage because of a quirk, so they had this all prepared. Now, after this happens, let us cut to I believe it was 4 of the 8 precepts. One of them had a hardening quirk, one of them was hungry. The punch guy, they are Kirishima, Sun Eater, and Fat Gum are fighting, along with the shield guy. The mimic guy is being the building, and 3 of these members are now still hidden. Now then, let us begin. The events with the people who essentially try to stop the heroes were the hardening guy, the hungry guy, and I believe I believe it's a disorient guy, I believe. They would all try and stop them. Deku would immediately Aizawa would have immediately just turned off their quirks, and Deku would just start rewinding them. Now, he essentially just turned them into animals. Now, he turned... No. Yeah, I guess. He just turned all of them into animals. Doesn't matter which ones. But they are essentially doing that. They're bouncing around. They're confused. Heroes just catch them and put them in cages. And Deku is actually just going through and actually trying to help everyone. They're going through, and this is whenever Deku and Mario would actually run into the guy whose quirk is actually confession. Now, they were running to him, and this guy asked them how they got through this villain so fast. As Deku would immediately answer that he uses his quirk rewind to actually just turn them into animals. Now, Overhaul would immediately stop and turn around, looking at Deku. Now, he would actually say to ask him another question, as this essentially sounds like Aries' quirk. Now, this man would immediately ask Deku essentially what is his relation to Eri. Deku would just blatantly say that for the last 2 to a month since the USJ, he has been having dreams. In fact, he's been able to feel and hear every single thing they've done to her. He can feel them ripping her body apart and putting it back together. Now, as soon as he says this, he realizes that exactly what he just said, as he's never actually been able to figure out what they've been doing to her. Now, as soon as he says this, he actually gets angry, as he would start clenching his fists and start running toward them. Now, the other heroes are actually trying to fight off the building, while Deku and Mario actually went ahead. Because Deku is actually just able to essentially punch through anything, and if need be, if a target's coming at him, as soon as he makes contact with it, he can just turn it backwards, actually stressing the Mimic guy out. Now, as soon as this event is happening, Deku and Mario are fighting with the guy who is essentially Tell Me No Lie, or Speak No... No, he's not Speak No Evil. He's essentially just Don't Lie to Me, and the drunk guy who can disorient people with his quirk. He's just chugging down a bottle, and Deku's looking at him, and he's trying to focus his quirk. As he would immediately grab a pencil from essentially his bag, or his pockets, and he just starts throwing them at this guy. Now, as soon as this guy sees the pencils, he's not really intimidated, until one of them goes into a giant tree, smacking him into the ceiling again, actually knocking him out. Because it actually grew somewhat to the size of a log. A very big log. Now, as soon as that happened, the guy who's trying to actually just fight with people, or just shoot at everyone, he's firing bullets. Deku's using full cowling to actually jump around and actually avoid them. Now, as soon as this happens, Deku would immediately go to fight with Overhaul. Overhaul would immediately just see as the building closes, which is when Mario would actually face the wall. Now, when this happens, Deku would immediately just start trying to get through the wall. He's punching through, but the Mimic guy is actually just trying to keep as much force on that wall as possible, essentially holding it closed. This is actually giving the heroes a chance to catch up, and because of this, Overhaul is thinking that they didn't have enough time to prepare a lot of these, so they only have 1 or 2 quirk-destroying bullets. Now, he's thinking that that kid there, he has the same quirk as Eri. So if they can capture him and essentially kill the heroes, or at least get out of here with him, they effectively have a stronger version of Eri's quirk, so therefore they'd have more knowledge and essentially less time to perfect their bullets. Since Ares' quirk is essentially untrained, and she does not have very much power with it, or control over it. Whereas this kid has about 3 times the life experience with her quirk, if not twice. Especially since he just threw a pencil at a guy and turned it into a tree. But that enhancement part, what is that all about? Does that mean that this girl has an enhancement quirk also? Or is that just part of it? Now, he's trying to think about that, and let us cut back to Kirishima and Fat Gum. Kirishima, Fat Gum, and Sun Eater, they're all fighting. And Fat Gum is actually explaining that they need to fight and survive. And this villain's going on his rant about how in the world of MMA, every person he's ever fought, as soon as he punched them down, they did nothing but either beg for their life or die. So he wants to properly fight to the death, because he has never beaten Overhaul. In fact, all he remembers is dying. He remembers... Ow. He remembers dying and then coming back 1 second later. And he doesn't know what happened. Just that there was a lot of blood everywhere. Now, after this, let us cut back to Mirio and Deku. Deku's still trying to get through the wall, and Aizawa's actually there. And Deku's actually saying that he can't get through the wall, something's going on. No matter how hard he punches, this thing just won't move, or it won't go down, or break through. Deku's actually getting more frustrated as he would immediately just cock his arm back, telling everyone to move out of his way. As he immediately just throws 100% at the wall, destroying it. As soon as he did so, his arm is actually broken, but he would immediately just bring his arm up, rewinding it. Which actually kind of concerns a lot of heroes. Now then, Deku would immediately see Mirio's fighting with Overhaul, and that the bird guy is still there. He would see that Mirio is actually being able to hold off Overhaul, and this is when Deku would see that Mirio is fighting with Overhaul, and then all he would hear is a gunshot. As soon as he does that, he would see Eri. Now, he starts running toward Eri, but so is Mirio. Now, one thing that is happening is this henchman just fired the quirk destroying bullet. Deku and Mirio are both running over to Eri as fast as they can. Now, Deku's actually thinking, he's just saying that Eri needs to move or she needs to duck or do something. Now, Eri would have actually just listened to Deku and she would have actually just ducked down. But now they have a different problem. The bullet has already zoomed past Mirio because he saw her duck, so he started permeating. It's passing through Mirio and it's now heading straight for Deku, which is not good. Now, this is quite the predicament for our hero. But let me do a little thing. As soon as this happens, this is whenever Ibara would have actually erected a wall in front of Deku. And as he would hit it, he would actually stop in front of it and actually be confused. Now, as soon as this happened, Mirio is actually protecting Eri and they're getting her out of there as fast as they can. But Deku's looking at Overhaul and he's actually seeing every cruel thing that's happened to her. As he just immediately clenches his fist down and actually starts charging it over. Now, Deku and Overhaul would start their battle. Now, this is going to be very bloody. Deku, he's immediately charging at Overhaul, and he would actually punch Overhaul in the face. As Overhaul would be able to essentially drag his finger across Deku's arm would immediately go flying off. Deku would start screaming and shouting as he is just in pure rage, and he actually goes to punch Overhaul with his other arm. Now, as soon as his arm connects with Overhaul's stomach, he would have actually sent Overhaul flying. But as soon as he did so, Overhaul would have been able to scratch Deku with his other hand, actually destroying the other one. Now, Deku's essentially has no arms. Look, Mom, no hands. Anyways, Overhaul would destroy both of Deku's arms, and Deku's even more mad. As he would just start walking toward... Well, he just starts running toward Overhaul, and Overhaul just says that kid has a death wish. Deku would just shout one thing, as Overhaul's trying to shake off his essentially current state. Now, Deku just saying that he needs to come here, because he has a question. Hey, bird bitch, Look at me! No hands! Just kicks him in the face and sends him flying. Now, as soon as that happens, everyone would just watch as Deku's still powered up at full cowling, and they would just see him just start rewinding his body as his entire muscle system in his arms just starts regrowing back slowly, which kind of confuses all the heroes, as they would see Deku just walk over to Overhaul and he would actually take out the case in his jacket. Overhaul has a broken jaw, but he's just trying to reach it for Deku. He's just swinging randomly at the air because he can't see out of one of his eyes, and Deku's looking at these things. He's saying that these things, he doesn't know what they are, but there's got to be important, as he would take one and just stab it in Overhaul's neck. And all the heroes are essentially just trying to stop Deku and then just pull him off of him, as Deku just keeps screaming and screaming and screaming. All Might would have to step in, and he would just knock out Midoriya, actually taking him away. Now, I'm going to be leaving this part off of here, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you're wondering why All Might wasn't in the battle, I will explain that a little bit more in the next episode. Now, I will catch you guys later.